So I'm reading this cat named Karl Popper, specifically a book called The Open Society and Its Enemies. It's really worth reading. So Popper was a punk-ass motherfucking philosopher who stood against historicism. What is historicism, you may be asking? Well, it's not to be confused with history. Historicism was the secret sauce that Hegel used to apply to existentialism in philosophy. First popularized by Heraclitus way back when with the fucking Greeks. Basically, the idea was this: all arts, all science, all culture, all forms of expression are essentially deterministic. Meaning that this YouTube, that fucking text that you sent to somebody right now, it's all determined by where you are at in history. And aside from Hegel, you had Marx using this, you had Plato using this, and Karl Popper, being the punk-ass motherfucker that he is, said, fuck those guys. You see, Karl Popper believed in this little thing called human agency. He also believed that it was our duty to be fundamentally ahistorical at times. Because if you buy into this notion that everything you do is a product of the history that you live in, it's kind of a form of totalitarianism. Not unlike the sanitized Reagan repeat, Make America Great Again, applied by Trump for a completely counterfactual idea of history that never actually fucking exists and certainly doesn't exist right now. Now, so there's something to be said about cycles of history. That was Giambattista Vico's bag, which was picked up by Joyce in Finnegan's Wake. I only have 3 minutes here on YouTube to discuss a very complicated idea, so I better get to the motherfucking point. Karl Popper is suggesting that historicism, whether it is something you consciously ascribe to or you just sort of instinctively ride by, it is tyranny. This is how totalitarianism flourishes. You can't have an open society if you are subconsciously or consciously reacting to the history that you're in. On the other hand, you do have to detect patterns because you don't want history to repeat itself. The whole point of living, the whole point of existing is progressing, changing. Change is an inevitable part of life. And human beings, historically speaking, have been fearful of change. This is what allows despotism and fascism to flourish, right? And what Karl Popper could not anticipate, as he inveighed quite eloquently against historicism, is this: what if you were a product of historicism? What if you didn't have the nimble mind to resist historicism? And what if that historicism was predicated upon a lie? I mean, you're already dealing with the illiterate, ahistorical public who believes that there is something to return to as opposed to something to look forward to. But now historicism isn't just a trap, it's become a kind of choose your own adventure, choose your own historicism. Go to page 4 or page 45. You get to choose your own history by completely rejecting history that has actually happened and that has to be considered as you resist historicism. Oh, we're so fucked. And the MAGA chuds and the illiterate rubes not only have no idea of history, they have no cognizance that they are being exploited with alternative historicism, which is the new alternative facts. Feed on that, huh? This is what I do when I go for a